Hey, what's up everyone? It's Maji here. In this video I will be covering the Constitution, the ranged, and the magical abilities added to the new combat beta for RuneScape. I'll be going through each category and reading off pretty much exactly what each of the abilities does. So if you want to discover those by yourself, then you should probably do that before watching the rest of this video. In a previous video, I discussed the attack, strength, and defensive abilities, and you'll find a link to that video at the end of this one. First, I'm going to start off this video by covering the two Constitution abilities. The first of which is Regenerate. This one is a basic ability which allows you to focus your remaining adrenaline to heal your wounds over 6 seconds. You can't use this ability during combat, so you'll have to wait until your character automatically adapts its casual stance or whatever, and it requires level 10 Constitution to activate. The second Constitution is called Insight, which is also a basic ability. It dramatically increases the likelihood that your attacks will cause your target to attack you instead of your allies. This lasts until cancelled, and it has no effect in player versus player combat. This requires level 24 Constitution to activate. So next I'm going to cover the 12 ranging abilities. The first of which is Piercing Shot. This is a basic ability. Shoot your target with a shot dealing 125% weapon damage or 175% weapon damage if they're stunned, and it has a 5-second cooldown. The second ranged ability is Snapshot, which is a threshold ability. Fire 2 shots in quick succession. This requires a two-handed ranged weapon and has a 20-second cooldown period. The third one is called Dead Shot, which is an ultimate ability. Fire a deadly shot at your target which deals 150% weapon damage instantly and a further 200% weapon damage over 6 seconds. This requires level 2 ranged and has a 60-second cooldown period. Next up is Snipe, which is a basic ability. Take aim at your target dealing up to 300% weapon damage after 3 seconds. It requires level 7 ranged and has a 10-second cooldown period. Next we have Binding Shot, which is a basic ability. Shoot your target with a shot which stuns them for 3 seconds and binds them in place for up to 20 seconds. Targets immune to stun instead suffer 300% weapon damage. This requires level 15 range and has a 15-second cooldown period. Next is the Fragmentation Shot. This is a basic ability. Shoot your target with a shot which fragments on impact, causing them to suffer damage equal to 200% weapon damage over 6 seconds. If the target moves, the effect is increased. Requires level 25 ranged and has a 30-second cooldown period. Next up is Escape, which is a basic ability. Leap backwards up to 7 meters to help maintain range from your target. This requires level 34 range and has a 20-second cooldown. Next is the Rapid Fire Threshold ability. Rapidly fire both weapons at your target, dealing damage equal to 250% of 6 seconds auto attack damage to your target. This requires level 37 ranged and dual-wielded ranged weapons, and it has a 20-second cooldown period. Next we have Ricochet, which is a basic ability. Fire a shot which ricochets off your target, hitting 2 additional nearby targets for 100% weapon damage. This requires level 45 ranged and has a 10-second cooldown period to use. Next is the Bombardment ability, which is a threshold ability. Fire a volley of shots into the air which come raining down, dealing 200% weapon damage to all adjacent targets. This requires level 55 ranged and has a 30-second cooldown period. Next we have Incendiary Shot, which is an ultimate ability. Fire an explosive shot into your target which will detonate after 3 seconds, dealing damage equal to 30% of their maximum life points. This requires level 66 ranged and a two-handed ranged weapon, and it has a 60-second cooldown period. Finally is Unload, which is an ultimate ability. Unload both your weapons at your target's current location for 6 seconds. Every 2 seconds, all targets standing at that location will take damage equal to 35% of their maximum life points. This requires level 81 ranged, and you will need to be dual-wielding ranged weapons to access this, and it has a 60-second cooldown period. Finally, I'm going to cover the 12 magical abilities. The first of which is a threshold ability called Asphyxiate. Reach out with magical force and choke the life from your target over 6 seconds, dealing damage every 2 seconds. Your target is stunned for the duration of this effect. It has a 20-second cooldown period. Second is a basic ability called Torture, a powerful spell that deals up to 200% active spell damage, inflicts 250% damage against stunned opponents. This ability has a 5-second cooldown period. Next is an ultimate ability called Omnipower. Bombard your target with each of the 4 elements, dealing damage equal to 25% of their maximum life points. This requires level 2 magic and has a 60-second cooldown period. Next is a basic ability called Dragon Breath. Breathe a mighty cloud of fire in a frontal cone, hitting all targets for damage up to 300% of active spell damage. This requires level 7 magic and it has a 10-second cooldown period. Next is a basic ability called Impact. Blast your target with a burst of magical energy, stunning them for 3 seconds. Targets immune to stun instead will suffer 300% of active spells damage. This requires level 15 magic and has a 15-second cooldown period. Next is a basic ability called Combust. This applies a damage over time effect to the target, dealing 200% of the active spell's damage over 6 seconds. This requires level 25 magic and has a 30-second cooldown period. Next is a basic ability called Surge. Instantly teleport up to 10 meters in a straight line ahead. This requires level 34 magic and has a 20-second cooldown period. The next is a threshold ability called Detonate. Summon an explosive ball of energy. The longer you maintain the effect, up to 12 seconds, the more powerful the explosion will become. Using Detonate a second time will trigger the explosion. This requires level 37 magic and has a 30-second cooldown period. Next up is a basic ability called Chain, a magical spell that chains between nearby targets, hitting for 150% of your active spell damage. This requires level 45 magic and has a 10-second cooldown period. Next we have a threshold ability called Wild Magic. Fire an unpredictable double magical attack at your target, which deals between 75% and 150% of your active spell's damage. It requires level 55 magic and a 20-second cooldown period. Next is an ultimate ability called Metamorphosis. Transform into an elemental based on your most recently cast spell. While you transform, your spells are free to cast and your damage is increased by 25%. This will last for 20 seconds. To be able to use this, it requires level 66 magic and it has a 60-second cooldown period. And the final one that I want to cover is an ultimate ability called Tsunami. Summon forth a destructive wall of water, damaging all targets in a frontal cone for damage equal to 200% of your active spell's damage. This requires level 81 magic and has a 60-second cooldown period. These 12 magical abilities are always available regardless of what spellbook you're using, and the other spellbook spells are located in the other portions of the magic tab in the ability book. Some of the rune costs of these normal spells are different, so I suggest you check them out too. Anyways, that wraps up everything I wanted to discuss with the Constitution, ranged, and magical abilities. Hopefully the next video in this series is going to be quite a bit more visually appealing, because I'm actually going to be trying out some of these abilities in combat. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.